Let's get started by creating a folder on desktop. You can name it HTML and CSS project. Now inside this folder, first we need to create an HTML file. But before doing that, let's open this folder with VS Code. If you don't know what VS Code is, it's just basically a code editor which you can download by simply going on Google and typing VS Code, and you can just download it from this link over here for Windows, Mac, or Linux or anything. But we're just going to open this folder with VS Code. If you want a detailed tutorial on VS Code, just put a comment down below. Now, once you have opened the folder with VS Code, you need to create a new file, and we'll call this index.html, and we'll create another file and we'll call this style.css. So now first let's open the index.html file. In order to type in any code, we need to type in first the template, the HTML template. For that, you need to type the exclamation mark and then just press enter. We've got a bunch of code. So first let's try to understand each bit. Now, everything, as I told you earlier, in HTML is written in between tags. What this line does is it tells the browser about the version of HTML we will be using, so that this code is parsed the same way on each browser. So after the doc type HTML tag, there is the HTML tag itself. Now in HTML, typing language English completely optional, so you can leave this blank if you want. And every code that we write is going to come under this HTML tag. Now inside this HTML tag, there is a head tag, and you can go ahead and delete these meta tags. These are a bit too advanced and we won't be able to fit it into this short video. And a simple template of HTML looks like this. There is a title, and we'll see in a minute what this means. So we'll just write it in here, uh, first HTML uh, page. Okay. And here the head tag is closed. Head tag is basically only used for title tags and linking the other files. We will see how to link this CSS file to our HTML file in a minute. Now, here comes the body tag, where most of our code is going to be. Inside this body tag, you can write anything. For example, like hello world. You can go ahead and write this. And if you save this and you need to come inside this folder, I'll just refresh it and you need to open this index.html file. So as you can see here, hello world is printed. Alright, that is great, but this is not really advisable to write code just like this. The best practice to do it is inside a p tag. Now a p tag is also called a paragraph tag. Inside this paragraph tag, you can do anything, like you can still type anything, but there is a slight advantage which I will be showing you when we'll be learning about CSS. So for example, we can write here, you are really smart, for example. And as you can see, it has no particular effect from the output, from the basic output, but we will see what are the advantages of using um, tags. Also, there's a very popular tag called div tag. You can use div tag to create divisions. For example, when you will be creating a website, let's go to a certain website, for example. Yeah, let's see this VS Code website. So this is called the navigation bar. As you can guess from the name, you can navigate to any part of this website using the navigation bar. If you come to the home page of this website, it is divided into certain sections. For example, this is the main page, main home page, which anyone sees when they first come into this website. And then there is a small section which shows 4 options, and then these are some testimonials. So as you can see, the website is divided into small sections and compartments or divisions. Now you can store these different divisions inside the div tag, or there is one more tag called the section tag. But generally it is preferred that you first create a section tag, and inside those section tag you put the div tags. For example, this is one section of a website. Okay, and here there is an image, there is a text, and there is another text, and this is a button. This is called a button, and it is all divided into different compartments. If you right click on this website and click on inspect, as you can see over here, it is divided into different divs. See, these are divisions. Of course, they haven't used sections, but they have used divs. You can obviously use divs or sections interchangeably. But I prefer to write code, like for example, I'll write this much code, the home the home section in a section tag, and divide everything in the home section in div tags. So that makes code a lot cleaner and much more easier to customize. So let's start by creating our own section. So let's create a section tag. Now inside the section tag, we can put, for example, a p tag, a paragraph tag saying hello there. And inside this section tag, let's create an image tag. Adding an image in HTML is quite easy. You just type img and you press enter, and the VS Code will automatically complete the line for you. However, when you are beginning, it is advisable to write the whole code yourself. So you write img and then you write the source. The source of this image can be from your computer or on the web. We will see how to use images in your website using both ways. So I have the image of Himalayas, and let's open this image in a new tab. Alright, now let's copy this link and paste it in our source. So using this, we will be able to see this image into our website. So let's test it out. See, it was pretty easy. Now there is one more method of implementing images into our website, as I've already told you. You can save image into your computer. For example, I'll just save it as Himalayas. Now this will be stored in a WebP file, but we want a JPG file. So let's go over here and let's try to download it. Yeah, we can download this in a JPEG image. I'll just save it as Himalayas. Okay, and I'll save it on inside this folder on the desktop. My not inside this folder on our desktop, HTML and CSS, and Himalayas.jpg is now saved inside this. And now we can use it directly. So if you type the source Himalayas.jpg, we will be able to see the Himalayas image in our website. See, but this is a bit too big and you don't want this type of image on your website. And we will be learning how to resize these images in CSS in just a few moments. But let's just try to understand more about HTML over here. So you have learned now how to implement images in your website. You have learned how to type in texts in the website, which is very easy. And I've also told you how to divide your website into different compartments. Now there is so much more into HTML that I've not explained you. So you can go onto the internet and you can type like HTML tutorial, and here you'll have W3 schools and so many more websites. And from here you can just learn about so many different things. For example, there are HTML elements, there is canvas, how to add videos and audios, and so much more. I'm just making this video to give you an overview and just make you get started with HTML and CSS. So now let's move on to CSS. As I've already told you, CSS is used to style what is already present inside this HTML. Using CSS, you can't add more elements in this website. For example, you cannot add p tags from CSS, or you cannot add sections from CSS. You can just only design what is already present in this HTML. So first, we need to link this CSS file. In order to link the CSS file, there is a link tag, and if you go to this link CSS option and click enter, then it will give you this tab, which is called link rel style sheet href, and there is this style.css file. Now notice it is already put the href as style.css. Now if you have any other, if you have renamed your file, for example, you have called it style.css. So let's actually try to do that, and I'll rename this as style.css. Then this won't work because we have set the href to style.css. See, unable to open style.css because it doesn't exist. So you need to change the name over here as well. And now this will be linked. See, you can open it from here. But I'll just change it to style.css. I'll rename it here as well. Now let's actually get started with style.css. There are several ways to style the elements. Like this section over here. What you can do is you can type section, and you can, if you want to change the background color, so we can type background color and let's set red. Okay, not the best color, but let's just see. Also, I will just remove this image tag for a moment. Okay. So now you can see this has a background color which is red, but there is a lot of space over here. So first we need to understand what is a box model. If you right click and select inspect, then you will see the box model. To better understand it, let's just go on Google and type box model. So we have an image of box model. What we need to understand from here is first there is the element, of course, and everything in HTML, every element in HTML is stored in boxes. As you can see, this is a box, a very uh, wide box, which it is not very long, but it's quite wide because we have not set the width, and we will see all of that later. But first, let's understand what a box model is. So first, this blue thing which you can see, and you can also see in inspect. See this blue colored highlighter. It highlights the elements which are there in the box. Okay, and after the element you have padding. Padding is the distance of the content of the box from the box borders. What I'm trying to say will be clear to you in a minute. For example, I go into this section, and if I type padding 10 pixel, so px is just a unit. For example, we have units in physics like Newton, centimeter. So in CSS, you have units like pixels, rems, and so on. But first, we'll be using pixels. Now, if you add 10 pixel padding onto this section, see the space between the content of this box, which means the p tag and the outermost part of of this box, which is the section element, it's increased. The space between the content and the border has increased. Now we can also give borders in HTML. Like for example, if I give border, so I need to type the width of the border. So let's say 2 pixel, and as I've already told you, pixel is just like a unit. And there are different types of borders. So most common use is solid. And now we need to define the color of the border. So let's let the color be black. Okay. So you can create borders using like this. If you come to your page, and if you reload it, you can see there is a slight border in this. And of course we can increase the border. Let's say let's set it to 12 px, and now the border size will be larger. See, so if we increase the padding, the distance between the content and the border of the element will increase. So if we increase the padding, now let's set it 100 pixel, which is very large, but let's just test. See, the distance between the distance between the content and the border has increased largely. Now that we have understood padding and border, let's try to understand what margin is. So let's just say there are two sections, okay, not just one but two. So I'll copy this section and I'll paste it over here. And now let's set it to div. Okay, so here this div has a p, but let's set the text to high. Okay, so both of these have different text and both of these are different elements, right? As you can see, this div is displaying high. See this div, here you can see the div, and it has one paragraph element and it is displaying high. And let's just set similar properties for the div. Yeah, div. And now these are almost identical, but as you can see, they are touching each other. What I'm trying to say is, if I change the color of the border, let's set it to blue, then you will be able to see there is no space between these two elements, these two sections, or more precisely, this section and this div. So in order to change that, we can we use margins. Margin is is the distance between two different elements of a website. So you can use margin top, margin left, margin bottom, and margin right. So we need margin top in this case, and let's set it to 40 pixels. And now, as you can see, the distance between this div and this section is considerably larger. So now now that we have understood box model, let's try to design this font a little bit more. Okay, so in order to design this, there are several things you can do with the font. We have p tags over here, so let's just try to style p. Let's just change the color of the text. Okay, so in p tag, let's type color, and here you can set the color to a variety of different colors. Okay, so let's just set it to white. And now if we go onto our website, you can see the text has changed to white. And we can do a bit more things. Like for example, you can increase the font size. Font size, let's say 20 pixel. See, the font size has increased. That means the text has grown larger. You can also change the font family of this. Font family is basically how the font looks. So if you come over here, uh, let's increase this. And if you go to styles, then you will be able to change the font family. Let's say, let's set it to, there are several types of font family already available to you on the web. So you can use cursive, see how the font has changed, and you can use this fantasy font, and you can use monospace fonts. There is the sans serif font, the system UI font, and there are other fonts as well. We will be looking at different types of font in the next video, where I will be creating a complete website, and it will be a bit longer. So stay tuned for that video. And yeah, so these are some of the things you can do with your font sizes. But you may have noticed one thing, that when I'm changing the properties of P, for example, here, when I'm changing the properties of P, then as you can see, both the P's, both both the paragraphs properties are changing. But if you just wanted to change the properties of this section and not just div, then how do you do that? So for that we use classes and IDs. Let's just try to understand what classes and IDs are. Let's say I had uh, let let's say I had 7 P's over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so let's say I have 7 P's over here, and I have 5 P's over here. Okay, but I want both of these to have a different font color. I want these section P's to be white and these div P's to be black. The easiest way to do that is by using classes. And I will first demonstrate to you how to do it, and then we'll try to understand how it works. So let's name this class uh, section P. Okay, and I'll just copy this and I'll paste it everywhere. And here, let's set the class name to div P. Okay. All right. So now we have 7 P's with the class name section P and 5 P's over here with the class name div P. Now I can individually style these section P's. So if I come over here, then what I'm doing over here is I'm styling all of the P's inside here. So every P will have the same property, but I want to style the section P's differently, and I want to style the div P's differently. So what we can use over here is class names. So in order to address elements with their class name, you type dot and you write the class name. So first class name is section P, and the second class name is dot div P. Okay, and keep in mind that don't use dot over here. You use dot in CSS. Okay, not in the HTML. So here we want the color to be black and the font size to be, for example, 18 pixels. All right, so we come over here, and we should see separate properties for both of these uh, P tags. All right, as you can see over here, the P tag has changed the color of the section P to white and the color of the div P to black. And I've also done some font size alterations, but you won't be able to see that because they're not very large. So let's just set the font size to 70 pixels, and then you will be able to see the difference in font size. Yeah, see how large the font is compared to this. Now you have understood you have understood how you can individually style certain elements. This is the advantages of using p tags. As I told you in the beginning of this video, you can write hello there. You can write hello there without a tag. See, this is not contained in any tag except the section tag. This is not inside a p tag, but we cannot style this hello there. See, its font size is not 20 pixel and it's also black, which is the default font size and also the color respectively. In order to particularly style these elements, we use class names. And there is also a different way to style these elements particularly. What if you wanted to change the font color of just one of these hello there elements, but you still wanted to retain the 20 pixel font size? For that, you use IDs. ID is basically a unique name you provide to an element. Multiple elements can have a class name, but not multiple elements can have the same ID. When you go to school, there are multiple students in the same classroom. For example, your English class or math class, history class, whatever. But there is only one you, right? Which is your ID, whatever your name is. So think of class as something multiple elements can have, but ID is something only one, it is a unique name for one element. Okay, so let's just give ID to the third element. Okay, and let its ID be sec third section P. Okay, and here, in order to style the IDs, we use hashtags. Notice how we used full stops for styling classes, but we use hashtags for styling IDs. So let's type here third section E. And keep in mind that this ID that you type in over here has to be exactly the same with this type ID or it won't work. Okay. So let's just set the font color. Let's just set the color to say yellow. Okay. So now maybe you will be able to see the third element as yellow color. So we have now learned how to style a group of elements and also how to individually style a particular element. Alright, so this is it in the basic HTML and CSS video. In this video, you have learned how to create an HTML and CSS file, what is the HTML template, how to create sections, how to divide your website into different sections and different divs. You have learned about paragraphs, you have learned how to add images to your website, and you have also learned how to alter and how to style a little bit of your fonts. And you have also learned how to use classes and IDs and how to particularly style the classes and IDs. And in the next video, which will be coming, we will be making a full-on responsive website. We will be learning what is responsive website in that video itself, and I will be linking it in the description of this video and also the pinned comment. So make sure you check that out. That will be a bit more advanced, and also I will be able to explain everything because we won't have any time constraint. I wanted to make this video so that people can just get started with their web development journey. So now that you've created your first HTML document, you can go on to these websites. For example, W3 Schools, as I mentioned, is a very good website, in order to learn HTML and CSS. And also there are tons of websites on the internet, and also there are videos on YouTube that you can watch in order to learn more about HTML and CSS. So see you in the next video. Till then, stay tuned, take care, goodbye.